Hello, my name is Catherine Ruiz, and I am currently taking the course Introduction to Educational Research. I am a fourth grade teacher. I teach all subjects, and this is my first year at this school. I've been teaching for 8 years, from fourth grade to eighth grade, from math and science to writing. And this is my third year in fourth grade, teaching all subjects after 2 years of COVID. I recently completed a research plan on improving reading comprehension in struggling readers. And the reason why I chose to research reading comprehension strategies and to create the plan and put it in place was that when we reviewed the scores of our mid-year MAP diagnostics assessment, we noticed that our students were everywhere. We had fourth graders reading in kinder and second grade and first grade. There were third graders also reading at kinder level, first and second graders reading at kinder, first, and a few reading in third grade, as well as some third graders reading at a fourth grade level. So we decided to group our students according to their reading level. In my fourth grade, like I said, I had students reading at kinder level, at first grade level, and it was very difficult for me to differentiate for all the different grade levels. And since the other teachers were having the same issue, we decided to do something to improve our students' reading comprehension in a way that would give us more time with the students. And we decided to group students by their reading level and have each teacher focus on a reading skill appropriate for their grade level. And we call this Walk to Read. It would take place for about 30 to 40 minutes a day, and students would walk to their assigned classroom according to their reading level. Students that had scored, so I would get the students that had scored between mid third grade level to low fourth grade. I had one high performing students in fourth grade. They were all assigned to me. And what I wanted to do was to focus on their reading comprehension using the reading comprehension strategies of ask and answer questions, as well as their work on their ability to understand and use the new vocabulary from a text and be able to use that text to find text evidence and to respond to questions. In addition, to be able to respond to open-ended questions that require a response using text evidence and using the new learned vocabulary. I decided to I met with my students for 4 weeks. We will meet with our students for 4 weeks in our Walk to Read program. I formed 4 groups of 5 students in my classroom, and I would work with the small groups every day. I also had an assistant, an instructional aide. Each classroom had an instructional aide that would support them. I had one that would be in charge of groups. I would meet with one group daily. I would meet with 2 groups a day, and one group would meet with the instructional aide. So 3 groups would meet with a teacher, and 1 group would work independently. When I met with a group, I would start by going over the new vocabulary that they would encounter in the text. And as we read the text, I would model how to pause and ask and answer questions answer questions about the text and point out the new vocabulary when we encountered it in the text. After we read the text, we would have a discussion about the questions they had before and during the reading. Did they find the answers they were looking for? Did they learn something new? Did they have any additional questions? We used the strategy, ask and answer questions, in discussions with each other. I asked them guided questions to check for understanding, as well as open-ended questions. Students were able to answer the questions using the evidence from the text and using their new vocabulary. Others were able to use the vocabulary in the responses, and a few students needed more prompting to respond and to be able to find the answers in the reading. At the end of the week, they were given a short assessment with 5 questions were multiple choice and 5 were written response. What was great about Walk to Read was that each classroom had an instructional aide to assist with the groups and help collect the data. And it gave us more time to work with students at similar levels. After analyzing the data from the first week, what I noticed in my group of students was that they did much better than I expected with the vocabulary portion and struggled a bit more with coming up with their own open-ended questions that required higher order thinking skills. They also struggled in responding using evidence from the text and answering incomplete sentences. A few students were reluctant to participate and would distract others, and some just didn't want to even try. Because I want my students to feel confident when responding and to be able to focus on the new vocabulary and the new content that they are learning, I decided to group my students, to move my groups. I grouped my students within my grade level to be able to support them with the additional support that they needed, and hope to work with my reluctant participants to be able to have discussions and feel more successful in the groups. By week 2, there were still a few students that struggled with the open-ended questioning and using evidence from the text to respond. I decided to adjust the groups and make new groups based on the data that we collected according to their abilities. By day 2 of week 2, that's when we rearranged the groups. So I arranged them according to how successful they were and who needed additional support with the open-ended questions, asking and responding, finding text evidence, and vocabulary. Students who needed the extra support will meet with me every day, and students who are doing well will be in group 2 and meet with me 2 times a week. For group 2 and 3, they will meet with me 2 times a week, and an additional day with the instructional aid. And there will be a 4th group. There will be my more independent learners who are able to answer open-ended questions, use the strategy, ask and answer questions before reading, during, and after, as well as have discussions with their group and using the new vocabulary. So with group 1, I will be using smaller passages with less vocabulary words and focusing more on asking and answering questions and finding and how to find text evidence. They will need more support with language and working on their ability to build their guided question strategy and strengthen their confidence in order to be able to participate. We will work on answering open-ended questions and work on responding, building their sentences. One thing that I will be doing with the lower two groups, groups 1 and 2, is I will be providing them with sentence stems for asking questions and sentence stems for responding in order to build their language and their confidence. And so they're not so focused on how I'm going to ask this question, how am I going to respond. Their focus will be more on the content and the vocabulary. With groups 3 and 4, which are doing well and are more independent, they will work on more challenging passages and they'll work more on formulating their own open-ended questions with less help from sentence stems, if at all. And I hope that they will be able to lead more discussions while using the new vocabulary and be able to work more independently using the text, the evidence from the text. After week 4, I hope to see in all groups great improvement in their understanding of a text and their ability to recall what they have read, as well as to be able to use text features to understand the content and reinforce what they have learned, especially to have a greater ability to have discussions on what they've read, because it is a necessary skill in 4th grade. We are already reading and analyzing content at a higher level for them. And it is especially important that they have the ability to have these discussions in 4th grade, to have discussions on what they've read, because it is something that will prepare them for 5th grade, where 5th grade and junior high, because in our school, starting 5th grade, they have Socratic seminars where they have to present, they have to be able to have discussions, to ask open-ended questions. They need to be able to state their opinion and cite from the text. So this is something that I will be working on for the rest of the year in order to prepare them for those Socratic seminars, to be able to have those discussions and feel successful at them. I have, in order to implement these small groups, we have been given an instructional aid in each classroom. We will be given short booklets, readers according to levels, and lesson plans. We also have the support of professional development from FACS. We have 2 instructional coaches coming in every 2 weeks to help us analyze the data and make decisions with groupings. And our principal is also very invested in this, as we are trying to get our reading scores up so that our students are successful and are able to get through our new curriculum, which is the CKLA from Amplify, which has very rich readings that require rich vocabulary and higher order thinking. But in order to be able to use that curriculum, we need to provide our students with the skills that they need. And for that, our principal has given us the tools of the professional development instructional coaches and the instructional aides in our classrooms to help us implement this action plan.